Welcome to the program. I am your host, Clyde Brown, and this is Spooky Talk. Have you ever had a spooky incident? I encourage you to keep something to write with handy. You may want to write some information down. We are live at 5, and live, spelled backwards, is evil, but we're not evil. We're just interested in spooky things. Have you ever had an experience that was spooky? Have you encountered ghosts? Weird coincidences? Strange occurrences? UFOs? Aliens? Creepy sights or sounds? Are you interested in psychic beliefs, fortune tellers, spooky movies, eerie pet behavior, science fiction, astrology, voodoo, Bigfoot, the supernatural, monsters, the mysterious, witchcraft, the paranormal, and signs from beyond? Then keep listening to the most unique radio show that has ever come to the Detroit area. Spooky Talk, the talk show that's spooky. We will open up the phone lines in about 13 spooky minutes. But first, on this show, Wendy Piepenburg, psychic medium. Amy Williamson, paranormal investigator. Lots to get to. But first, this is Spooky Talk on WPON 1460 AM. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking with psychic medium Wendy Piepenburg. Hi, Wendy.
Hello, Clyde.
How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you today?
Great. I referred to you as a psychic medium. There are psychics and there's psychic mediums, right?
That's right. I'm a psychic medium. Not all psychics are mediums, but all mediums are psychic. Psychics see the past, present, future, and mediums have the ability to communicate with those on the other side. People like John Edwards or James Van Praagh, whom I love and whom some of your listeners may be familiar with, specialize in mediumship.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, what's one of your spookiest experiences?
Well, I can tell you one of my most recent ones. I was doing a home investigation in Monroe, and the homeowners had reported a lot of activity, sightings and voices and objects moving about. And on my first visit, I arrived midday. I brought a digital recorder with me to pick up any EVP, that just stands for electronic voice phenomena, and a camera. As a psychic and medium, I initially will sort of read the house, much like I would a person. I'll look at its history, the people who live there, kind of see where energy is stuck there, what's going on. And I immediately sensed an older man who I believe to be one of the original owners of the surrounding land, and also I sensed a little girl. And there, the owners confirmed that they had heard a little girl's voice at times and had seen the spirit of the older man as well. And we were standing in the kitchen just talking about, how we would get started, how we'd walk around the house, and I felt someone holding my hand, like a little kid's hand, as we spoke in the kitchen. It was really neat.
Boy.
And later on, in the EVP, you would hear a little girl humming a song at the time that I felt this.
Wow.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? They know when there is a medium around or someone who can acknowledge them. In addition, as we spoke of who she might be and wondered if she had any siblings, the EVP picks up a little girl's voice that clearly states, "I don't have any brothers or sisters." And right around that time I sneezed, and I heard another little voice, and this is only on the recorder. I couldn't hear this with the naked ear, but playing back the digital, we could hear this, and this little girl says again, she says, "Gesundheit."
Oh,
very sweet
gosh.
Spirit.
Yeah, very polite.
Very polite, very polite. And someone, some might consider this creepy, but this is kind of my normal, and I was quite happy to be in her lovely energy and help her cross over. And later on, though, a man on the recorder said, "Time to go." So maybe he wasn't so happy I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. So I was going to say that we continued to walk through the home, and we took photos in succession showing numerous orbs kind of moving toward us with each successive photo, and shadows were in brightly lit living room photos, and there were bright lights in dark rooms. There was no flash. It was midday. Toys fell from shelves. One toy across the room started playing music on its own. This was a common occurrence in the home. Planter fell in the entryway, a large one that had been stationary for years. There was a lot of noise while we were there. We definitely sensed that we weren't alone. Yeah. Wow. So, sometimes, the spirits, they just want to be acknowledged and remembered. Their personalities don't always change when they cross over. If they're mischievous here, they will be there too. They'll try to get your attention by moving things, and they don't always realize that we cannot always hear them with the naked ear, but they will often show up digitally. And some need assistance just moving on. In this case, by my second visit, all was quiet. The little girl allowed us to help her to cross over, and I think the older gentleman chooses to stay and watch over his property. And I sensed that he loved not only the property, but there was a cherry tree there that I just sensed. It was later confirmed that the last of them had been taken down, and we found out that when I was drawn to the front yard regarding the little girl, I felt that unfortunately she had been hit by a car while riding her bike, and I could see her in my mind's eye. I'm clairvoyant, so I see pictures like stills from a movie, and I could tell by her dress it was very likely in the 50s that this happened. And days later, this was confirmed by an older neighbor that there was indeed a little girl who had been hit and killed by a car while riding her bike. But upon the second visit, and after talking with the spirits of the house, the homeowners reported peace and quiet. I think the little girl heard us and was able to move on, and the older gentleman stays and keeps an eye on his property.
Wow.
So, yeah, interesting stuff, huh?
What an experience, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Spooky Talk. I'm talking with Wendy Piepenburg. Wendy, do you have a website?
I do. My website is www.clearpathpsychicreadings.com. You can also Google Wendy Psychic Ann Arbor and find me there.
Wendy Psychic Ann Arbor.
Yep, if you just Google that. If you can't remember the clearpathpsychicreadings.com part, you can find me that way too.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy. I hope to speak with you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is Creepy Rick from the 3D Invisibles, and you're listening to Spooky Talk, the talk show that's spooky.
Folks, I'm here with a paranormal investigator, Amy Williamson, the host of Para Women Scream Radio and founder of League of Extraordinary Women of Paranormal and Horror. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Clyde. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic.
What event do you have coming up?
Oh, Clyde, I have a lot of events coming up. One of the things that I love doing is going to conferences and lecturing and or holding my own. And in fact, I have a website called ahauntingexperience.org. It's actually called A Haunting Experience, but it's www.ahauntingexperience.org that lists many of the events that I'm holding and or going to be a guest speaker at.
Cool.
Yeah, and the first one that I'm going to be doing is actually in this month. It's the premier steampunk event of the Midwest, the World Steam Expo. And what it is it's all about steampunk.
Steampunk.
Steampunk. And steampunk is something new that, well, it's not really that new, but it's new to me, and it's new to a lot of people. I ask some people, and they don't really know what it is. Goth people usually know what it is, but muggles don't usually know what a steampunk is.
Muggles?
Muggles, that's from Harry Potter, the normal, run-of-the-mill people.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, steampunk, and this is my definition of steampunk. It's not if you go to Wikipedia, it's not their definition, but I call it's kind of like Doctor Who sci-fi clashes with the Victorian era. You kind of get people who are dressed up in the Victorian era, but it's got a little sci-fi twist to it, and it's a lot of fun, and they do a lot of Victorian things. And I was contacted by them last year because I host the Victorian Haunting Experience each year. And yeah, and so they contacted me and they asked if I would mind coming, and they wanted me to chat about they wanted me to have 3 panels / workshops. What I'm going to be talking about has to do with